Tuesday night. Very good show tonight. We are talking about, of course, the legislature is in session. And, of course, they are talking about all kinds of bills, from wine in grocery stores, medical marijuana, Common Core, guns in parks, some of the things that you've heard about. And then there are other bills as well. And today we are going to get a sense of what is going on up there. Anything you want to call in about, we invite you to do that. 737-plus, 737-7587. And we are very happy to have with us as our guest Representative Mike Sparks, Republican from Smyrna. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for the invite.
So a lot going on. And essentially what I want to do is just talk about some of the bills. You can certainly tell us where you stand, what you think, and kind of where you think some of this stuff is going. We'll start with wine and grocery stores.
Yes.
Where are we on that?
Well, I know it passed out of local government. I believe it'll be heard on the House floor in the next few weeks. I was opposing vote on that. I was opposing vote on it last year. It fell by one vote.
Now that it's going to be voted on the House floor, do you feel like this thing, it's going to pass this year?
You know, someone was saying that there may be a chance they don't have the votes. I would say it's probably going to pass. I was talking to one of the advocates today about it, and he was kind of cutting up about me, trying to get me to switch over, you know, and I just told him I just couldn't. But I believe they may have the votes, you know, and I voted against it. What the people don't hear, I call it the wine and Walmart bill. You know, to me, the small businesses, they're just becoming a dying breed, and the state's created this monopoly. When people want to talk about monopoly and free market, the state's the one that's imposed it. They're only allowed to own one liquor store, and then locally, I can remember it coming through Smyrna, where I'm from. I fought it coming into my community. You know, I held up picket signs and fought it. And first time we won. Second time, I felt like we were going to lose, so we lost on that one. But now what's happened, though, that's some of these people's retirement. That's their own business right there that they've poured all this money into. And even the demands of maybe only having 5 per community, you know, maybe 4 per community, they have played by the rules the state's imposed on them. But one area that you don't hear about being is the 27 new ABC agents that you're going to have to hire. The $2.5 million fiscal increase in revenue, which is also increase in drinkers. So you can't have it both ways. I just seen in House Transportation.
And what this would do, would it allow communities to vote?
It would allow that.
So essentially they're not passing wine in grocery stores. They're saying, okay, communities will have the opportunity to vote. So then the argument for somebody who's opposed to it is, why not let individual communities vote?
Well, and my argument will be this: why not let individual communities vote for medical marijuana? Why not let them vote on everything? We're sent up there to do a job, to make those tough decisions, and this is just a way that they watered it down to get it to pass. You know, and I'll give them credit; it was smart to do, but also don't want to blame the representative from the Bristol area up there, that his area, it's a jobs bill for him, because people are leaving. The 8 states that we border, they're leaving, and they're going to Virginia, and they're buying their alcohol and wine there. So he's losing revenue. Now me, I don't think, if it's going to create any jobs, I doubt it. I think you have the economies of scale with Kroger and the Walmarts and those areas, that they really don't have to hire a lot of folks. Now, can the small mom and pop survive? I think they may be able to survive, but we got to remember, it's putting 27 ABC agents out there to enforce this. So we're supposed to be the party about lesser government and being more fiscally responsible. No, we're increasing drinkers. You can't have it both ways. $2.5 million on the fiscal side, you're going to have more drinkers. And also, just last week, I noticed we had a report from Tennessee Homeland Security and driver's testing folks and the troopers, and our DUI arrests since 2010 were up 91.7%.
Wow. Now maybe that's partially because they're out there more looking to make
Well, that's
arrests.
the argument they're going to give. I'm going to argue that once this gets passed the next few years, you're going to see those arrests go up, and you're also going to see the demands on our prison budget, where there's DUI arrests, which is 70-80% of those folks that's incarcerated are there for a drug and alcohol offense.
All right, so it's going to go on the House floor. You feel like there'll be a definite debate, there'll be a passionate debate.
Oh, there will, yes, sir.
And it'll be a close vote. But
I think it'll be, you know, it's election season too, so I think that plays a little role. Unfortunately, it doesn't play a stronger role than it would have 10 years ago. You know, unfortunately, the culture has changed a little bit. I mean, you're seeing people more open to legalizing marijuana, for example. 10 and 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen that.
That is amazing, actually. There is talk in Tennessee about, there's certainly medical marijuana. Colorado and other Washington State just legalized marijuana.
Yes.
You've been outspoken on that issue as well. I mean, certainly if callers want to call and talk about wine and grocery stores, that's great. What about the medical marijuana?
Well, like I sat here with Nick Barris and Representative Sherry Jones, and we have a prescription drug problem. We have a drug epidemic, and that's not my words. That's Governor Haslam saying that. Our prison budget increased $46 million just last year. $46 million. That's $46 million you can't use to give teacher raises. You can't build a bridge. That's $46 million, and we need to really wake up to what these social issues have fiscal implications, and people don't connect the dots sometimes. So the DUI arrest, you think, well, that's not a big issue. Well, that's someone who can't get a driver's license. That's someone who's not going to be able to drive to work. That's someone's father or someone's son that can't have transportation. I mean, it's got a big fiscal demand on families.
And so you think medical marijuana just opens the door for more?
I think it does. And it's. I'm not going to act like it's not it's still a tough issue, because if someone is battling cancer, like my stepfather, who's diagnosed with cancer 4 months ago, Dr. William Chance, used to be a state investigator for years up here in Nashville. He was a pharmacist. He's even kind of keeps an open mind on some of that. He remembers when it was legal years ago. Do I want to be the one that says someone in hospice shouldn't smoke that if they find relief? That's difficult for me. But look at the same issue we're having with prescription drugs. We have an epidemic of prescription drugs. So we're just opening a Pandora's box on medical marijuana. And let's see what plays out in Colorado also.
Yeah, that will be interesting. All right, we have several calls already. I mean, again, we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, but I'm going to take a few calls here. Let's go to Regina on line 1. Hello, Regina.
Hey, good evening, guys. How are you?
Great. What's on your mind?
Well, listen, legalizing marijuana, that's very important. I weigh heavy on that. But now, I have something new that I think the floor needs to take an adjustment. And please forgive me for this, baby.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Child support.
Child support.
What do you do if laws need to be changed addressing that issue? Simply because if it's not money in hand, the courts do not recognize anything that you do for that child. Now, I'm a grandmother to a 9-year-old. I have physically taken care of this child from day one, along with my son. I have also paid for tuition for private school for 3 years, and none of this plays into motion of a decision. Something is wrong with this situation.
All right, well, I want to ask you specifically, what would you like to see done? What is it?
I would like to see the courts recognizing everything that you do, not just money in hand to the mother.
Right. And how would they recognize everything that you do? How would that be recognized?
It could be recognized with, in our case, we have receipts on everything from day one up until this point. This child is 9 years old.
And you would like, so the husband or the father would have to pay?
I would like for the system to be changed and recognized that the non-custodial parent has, with receipts and showing that this person is supporting this child other than putting money in the custodian parent's hand.
All right, well, let's talk about that. This is one of those issues. There are not a lot of lobbyists for people in this situation.
Yeah, we talked about that before we went on air. And I wanted to ask the caller where the parents were.
All right, caller, Regina, are you still there?
I am.
Do you want to answer that?
I'm sorry, what was his question?
I was going to ask where the mom and the father was.
Well, they're both in the child's life. I'm just a grandparent. I'm the grandparent on the non-custodian side. My son.
But you're raising them.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, the child is with the mother.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, you have these guys out here that's trying to do the right thing, that's really there for this child in every way. But the court system, if you're not putting money in her hand, they don't recognize nothing that you do. And that's not fair.
Yes,
all right, well, let's talk about that. So what do you this is a tough one. What do you think?
It is, and I think some of this, and I don't didn't really understand all their situation. You know, to me, an individual's their best lobbyist. I mean, I'd advise her to call her representatives, go sit down and meet. Anybody will, all the legislators will meet with, especially constituents. They'll meet with them. And 741-1100, and she could pull it up. If she doesn't know her rep, someone could tell her what area of town that she's in, and she could tell them. I would just address it with their representative, go down and sit and meet with them, and that also that department. You know, find out who that liaison is in that department and meet with them one-on-one. And she's welcome. You're welcome to call my office, ma'am, 741-6829, and we can try to help you regardless if you're in our area or not.
And are there enough? I mean, I think it is interesting. They're not lobbyists, and lobbyists, you know, get a bad rap. They certainly they perform a function up there.
Yes, they do. Certainly.
But people have to pay for a lobbyist to go up there. Yeah. Somebody's paying them.
Yes.
And so people that are struggling with some of these other issues, nobody's paying somebody to go up and advocate on behalf of that. Yeah. Are issues like this not being addressed because there aren't lobbyists behind them?
It may not be. It may not be. Now, this goes back to the premise of why I have concerns with alcohol and the drugs and that sort of thing, and the fatherless rate. Those issues aren't addressed. If the father's not in the home, there's a direct correlation between teen pregnancy, dropout rate, suicide, incarceration. It's astronomical. And if folks don't believe me, just get on the internet, just Google correlation with the fatherless rate, the implications that it has on us as a society. Just like it goes back, it's all full circle with the prison budget, $46 million that we're talking about there. If that father's incarcerated, he's not being a breadwinner for paying child support or in that child's life. So all these issues run full circle.
Regina may have touched a nerve because we have a bunch of calls. Let's go to Sherman on line 2. Hello, Sherman.
Yes.
Hi, what's on your mind?
I have something I'd like the representative to know, and I think this could be a story for Channel 5. Department of Safety and the Driver's License Bureau has convicted felons doing data entry for the Driver's License Bureau. I'd like to know, they're saying they do it because they're saving money. Do you think the convicted felons have any business doing it, and they're doing the same thing over at TennCare? Female prisoners with access to Social Security numbers are doing the same thing over there, even though they don't have a pen and pencil. I'd like to know, sir, what you think about that, and is that not something that the legislature should not address and require the Department of Safety and TennCare to start hiring full-time law-abiding citizens? Because
instead of using inmates.
Because they put the wrong conviction on his name.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Sherman, thanks for the call. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with the situation, but I don't want to see inmates have access to folks' Social Security numbers. But by the same token, if we could leverage inmate labor to keep taxpayer dollars down, let's do it. But they certainly don't need access to folks' Social Security.
I believe I've seen...
And I'll ask about that.
You'll ask about that? I believe I've seen stories about that. Sherman, I believe I have seen stories about that, certainly with TennCare.
If he'll call the office this week, 741-6829, I'll get him an answer on that.
All right, let's go to Julie on line 3 before we go to break. Julie, what's on your mind?
Yes, hi. I wanted to address the issue concerning medical marijuana.
Okay, great. What's on your mind?
I feel that, well, first of all, I'm a farm tech, and I will graduate in May, but we've discussed this in class, and apparently a lot of states have approved it, but my thinking is, or hope, is that Tennessee will keep it for medical reasons only, because it's just another thing out there that causes addictions and kind of steers people away from what they need to be doing in life. The other comment I wanted to make was concerning wine in the supermarket.
Right.
I think it's a good idea concerning things that, because of things that have happened at package stores, where used to, that's the only place we could get liquor, I guess, within Tennessee. I think it's much better or safer for some people feeling wise to go in a supermarket and purchase wine.
Okay.
And the third address I would like to address the issue of is enforcing the Hague Convention concerning abductions of U.S. citizens. Me personally, I have a situation where my daughter is stuck in Japan, and we had a legal agreement within Japan in both languages that I am the, in Japanese, Shinkensha, I am the custodial parent. So
Wow.
anyway, he decided he didn't want to bring her back from a visit, but the Japanese government didn't enforce him to. When I came back to the States, first thing I did was talk to my Congress people, and they replied back that because it had been taken into the Japanese court system, that there wasn't anything that they could do except staying in contact with the U.S. Embassy.
Okay, all right. Julie, thank you. I mean, you put a lot out there, and guess what? We have to take a break. We've gone a long time here in this first segment, so we're going to take a break, and we will come back. We're going to talk about what you mentioned there, Julie, and other people on the line. Hold on. If you want to call, there are a couple lines open, 737-plus, 737-7587. Take a break and be back right after this.
From the News Channel 5.